Hi, and welcome to Ocean Science Beauty, the channel where science meets the sea. For thousands of years, the ocean has been full of mystery, fear, and beauty. Before satellites, submarines, or deep-sea research, people tried to understand the sea, and often got it completely wrong. 1. Long ago, before 500 BCE, ancient Greeks and Egyptians believed the Earth was flat, like a giant disk floating in space. Sailors worried that if they sailed too far, they might fall off the edge of the ocean. It's easy to see why there were no satellites, no world maps, just endless blue water fading into the horizon. 2. From 500 to 1500 CE, European sailors, especially in Scandinavia and the Mediterranean, told stories of huge sea monsters with tentacles strong enough to crush ships. These tales became the Kraken in Norse myths, the Leviathan in the Bible, and sea serpents on medieval maps in Europe. Many monsters were real animals: whales, giant squids, or drifting seaweed misunderstood in the fog and fear of the open sea. 3. Between the 1400 and 1700, European explorers, such as Portuguese and Spanish sailors, reported seeing mermaids and mermen, half-human, half-fish creatures. In reality, they had seen manatees, or dugongs, in tropical waters. From a distance, tired and lonely sailors thought they looked human. That's how the legend of mermaids began, part truth, part imagination. 4. Greek thinkers like Aristotle. Greece, 384–322 BCE, and Ptolemy, Egypt, 2nd century CE, believed the equator was so hot that ships would burn if they sailed there. They called it the torrid zone. This idea lasted for over 1,500 years. But in the 1400 and 1490, Portuguese and Spanish explorers, like those working for Prince Henry the Navigator and Christopher Columbus, discovered the truth. The equator was not deadly at all. It was full of life, tropical waters, and coral reefs. 5. For a long time, people in Europe and the Middle East thought the ocean had no bottom, an endless abyss to the underworld. Even into the 1700s and 1800s, scientists didn't know its depth. Today, we know the ocean averages about 3.7 kilometers deep, and the Mariana Trench, discovered in 1875 by the British ship HMS Challenger, is almost 11 kilometers deep. Deep, yes, but not infinite. 6. Sailors in Europe, especially around Britain and France, had noticed a strong current in the Atlantic for centuries, but thought it was random. In the 1772, Benjamin Franklin, USA, mapped it and proved it was the Gulf Stream, a strong, steady current. 7. For many centuries, people in Europe and the Middle East believed sea creatures could appear from mud or seawater. This idea lasted until the mid-1800s, when scientists like Louis Pasteur, France, proved that life only comes from existing life. 8. From the 1700s to the 1900s, many in Europe, North America, and Asia thought the ocean could never run out of fish or resources. Today, overfishing and pollution have shown that the sea is fragile and limited. 9. In the 1800s, some explorers from Britain, the USA, and Europe believed in an open polar sea, that the Arctic was warm water surrounded by ice. When they finally reached it, they found only freezing water and endless ice sheets. From flat earths and boiling seas to mermaids and monsters, these old ocean stories remind us of one thing: The unknown inspires both fear and wonder. Every time we learn the truth about the ocean, it doesn't become less magical, it becomes even more amazing. The real ocean, with its glowing creatures, huge trenches, and hidden worlds, is far stranger and more beautiful than any myth. So next time you look at the horizon, remember the sea once held the world's greatest mysteries, and in many ways, it still does. Here's a question for you. Which of these ocean myths do you think is the most unbelievable? If you enjoyed this dive into ocean myths and history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join me next time for more stories from the deep where science meets beauty.